Thanks for tuning in again to the Let's Talk podcast. Joined today by the amazing Courtney Cox. She, where do I start with this one? I'm pretty sure that there's not a single person, organization in this industry that doesn't know who she is. There's a reason that dude, Courtney was pretty much not pretty much, she was the OG supporter of me in this industry. I was pretty much there from the get go when we came to channel partners back in 2021, and so it's I I I count her as one of my she's one of my mentors. I've always used her as a sounding board. Um, gosh, and I think that everybody understands why she is such a vital and lovable person in this industry. Everybody has experience with her. I know that pretty much. Probably 99% of the people that are watching this or listening do. So I couldn't think of a better person to be one of our first podcast guests. Someone that's just very near and dear to my heart. I look up to her and I respect her so much. So, Courtney, thanks for coming on. I'm glad that we get this time to kind of dive into not only we'll talk about the professional side a little bit, but give the give the audience time to know what makes Courtney Courtney. So maybe start there, and we can talk about what you're doing later. But let's kind of give everybody a little color to who you are.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for having me, but also thank you for all of the kind things that you said. And I think the world of you and truly have not met many people as genuine as you are in my entire career. And so, you get what you give. And I think that our worlds were attracted to each other for a reason. And so it's been so fun being a supporter of you and of Volli. And so I appreciate you having me here. And,
Oh,
that
thank you
20
so
bucks
much.
I
Yeah.
gave you to say all those nice things about me really paid off. So,
I'm rich now.
right. that was $100 a year ago. So, I'm Courtney Cox, and yes, that is my real born name. My parents did that to me in 1990, so technically it's before Friends came out. So
There you go. You
everyone
made it popular.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's two Courtney Coxes, and one of them's actually famous. Uh, but I am located in Greenville, South Carolina. People can usually guess that after they hear me speak at least two sentences. I kind of feel like right now I'm Theo Vaughn and you are Joe Rogan.
Oh, I
I
love it.
am I am the country bumpkin. You're the smart one, and you're just giving me a little bit of time on air, and I might have to riff a little bit, but
Oh,
I am
please
Theo.
do. You're definitely Theo at that point then.
I love it. So I'm born and raised Greenville, South Carolina, which it's really cool that Greenville has become this hub of technology distribution. I know we're going to get into career stuff in a minute, but that makes this city even more special to me that it's become a home to our industry in many ways. And so it's not only my home, my family's home for ever and ever. We are Greenvillians through and through. And so I absolutely love this city. We actually just closed on our dream house, and it's the furthest away from the home I grew up in that I'll ever have lived, and it is a whole 5 miles away.
A whole
So
5 miles. You sound like
yes,
me.
yeah.
I think the farthest I've lived from my home is probably about 8 to 10 miles at max.
Right. My mom has been testing how long it takes to get to the new house and looking at houses to move closer to us. So
That
we're
sounds like my mother-in-law.
Right. Yeah, I love it. So, I am extremely close to my family. That's part of the reason why I have always stayed in Greenville is there's nothing better than a good old Cox family gathering. I have a big sister who has a son and a daughter. So my niece and nephew are two of the most important people in the world to me. My nephew is 5 years old. His name's Cooper, and Emmy, she just turned 4. And so we have lots of fun with those little ones. And I live here with my boyfriend, Craig, boyfriend of 5 years, and our first son, a German short hair pointer named Bowie, named
I
after the
think
great
everybody in the
David.
channel knows Bowie.
Right. Bowie is a channel chief, actually. And right now, we are actually expecting our first child. So we are,
Yeah.
yay! So we're having a little boy. He's coming along in 4 short months. So I am really in mom mode, trying to get ready for that at the same time as starting a new journey in my career, obviously buying our new home, all of the fun things. And so
You just decided to
uh,
pile it on all at the end of 2023.
exactly. So yeah, we really do live a pretty simple life. I love decorating. We love spending time with family, but really my ideal day is just, being around the people I love and having a good Chick-fil-A meal to top it off. And
I mean, that God's
if
chicken.
there's a Harry Potter movie in there and a little bit of Taylor Swift, like that's my dream day. And so thankfully that can happen any day of the week.
Oh, so great. And I think that's, yeah, honestly, it's one of the reasons, like you said, that our worlds, kind of came together. I feel like you're a very like-minded person. I mean, you're talking Chick-fil-A, Harry Potter. I've actually told my wife, I said, you can think of Courtney as kind of a female me, where I'm like, she likes a lot of the same stuff. It's a, it's one of the things that I think just makes you such a fun individual to know in the channel industry. Um,
Oh.
it, it, it I think everybody has a good Coco story. I know I do. I've got several. But to kind of talk a little bit more about the channel side of things. So, you've been in the channel for some time now. It's over 10 years. It looks like.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm curious because personally, I have not heard this story yet, but you know, let's launch talking about the professional side of what you do now. What was the first thing that kind of brought you into the channel or made you, kind of realize that maybe this is what you wanted to do for the, foreseeable future?
Absolutely.
And then
So,
just kind of, go into it all.
yeah, yeah. So, just to recap sort of my journey of where I've been, where I'm at. So, I was at ScanSource and Intelisys for just under 10 years and moved to Avaya recently to become a national partner manager. And those are the two companies I have worked at in my life. And so, I'm sort of a weirdo to be a millennial and to have stayed at a company for 10 years. And
Yeah,
it
I applaud that
speaks.
though, because like you said, you're the weirdo. I think there's something said to not only an organization that employs someone like that, but the mindset that someone has that it was just under 10 years, but that's hard work and it shows determination. And I just think it really it's testament to your character at large.
Well, and I was lucky to be a part of a company that, gave me a ton of opportunities for growth. And so it was a loyalty that was well deserved by the company and still to this day, a ton of loyalty to the whole family that I had there. And so I started as an account manager in the communications business. I think the first thing I ever sold was a ShoreTel Connect system. So, I still have an iHeart ShoreTel shirt that I wear. I probably shouldn't since I work at Avaya now, but
Yeah, ooh,
it's okay. I love orange. So
nobody likes short telling.
so I spent a little under 5 years as an account manager, closed some really cool deals with worldwide Pepsi deployment for all of their video conferencing units worldwide, like some really, really cool stuff that I got the opportunity to be exposed to. And honestly, I didn't even know what technology distribution was whenever I applied for the job at ScanSource. ScanSource has this stronghold over this really cool young community of young professionals in Greenville. If you go to Clemson University, which I did, go Tigers, and I know that you can't like that, but it's okay.
Oh, see, that's the thing, though.
Everybody loves Dabo a little bit.
I'm a hockey person through and through. It's the only thing I watch. I have no skin in the game when it comes to OSU football. Yeah, I'm going to get chastised by all the Ohio fans that are watching this or listening. But yeah, my only loyalty is to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Okay, cool. Then we have no competition there.
This is a safe space for you. You're
Yes,
good.
yes, thank you. So left Clemson. I actually worked for my mom for a little bit after Clemson, and she owned a women's boutique in Greenville, and we absolutely love
Awesome.
fashion in my family. We had our boutique for about 6 years, and it was a blast. But then our whole family realized that it was just, yeah, it was every day of the week. It wasn't a 9 to 5, a 5 to 9, a 9 to 5 job, and it was taking away from us being able to grow as a family the time that commitment took. And so my mom actually sold the boutique a month after I started at ScanSource, but I had a lot of friends that worked there, and they kind of were like, hey, this is a really cool place to figure out what you want to do when you grow up. It
Yeah.
wasn't, hey, we all wanted to be in technology distribution, you should come join us. it
Yeah.
was it was more of find a place where you feel like it's home, and grow there and figure out what you want to do. And so thankfully I had tons of opportunities to grow. I was an account manager, business development. I got to lead 2 different sales teams, one in their hardware business, one at Intelisys. And so I got to learn these different sides of the channel as well, since obviously most of that was in the hardware distribution side of the business, about 8 years of it. And just at 2 years at Intelisys. And so that really opened my eyes to the world of services. And it was such a cool, different way of doing business with an agency. And I absolutely fell in love with that piece of the channel and the family that you get to gain and cherish
Yeah.
through that piece of the channel. And so it really helped me realize, even though I had no idea going into it that that was going to be my career and not just a job, that it was setting me up for the rest of who Coco's going to be in her professional career. So, I always joke whenever I'll go back and speak at Clemson sometimes, and they're like, "What did you want to do when you were in college?" I was like, "Well, honestly, I thought I was going to marry rich, so I I didn't have a ton of plans, so I got a marketing degree and I got out of here." But it's been such a fun journey, and I wouldn't change any of it, honestly, because it's introduced me to people like you.
I think that's, yeah, people like you, I think that's the reason why they thrive so much, is just because um, you're a hard worker. You have personality. If a single person says that you don't, then they're liars and they need to be locked up, run away, lose it, throw away the key, and never talk to them again. Because at least since we have been in the channel, we came in right as 2020 rolled around,
Mhm.
and I quickly found out that it is very much a relationship game. And yeah, I come from energy prior to this, and then for 15 years it was one of those industries where it's whoever has the nicest Rolex, it's whoever has the nicest suit. And so it was a culture shift for me personally.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that people that are maybe new to the channel industry need to realize that people like Courtney are not the exception. It's actually starting to become pretty much the rule, and I think that that comes from leaders like Courtney, being who they are in the industry, being able to be someone that when I'm talking to you, as a customer, if I'm talking to you, I feel like Courtney, rather than selling me a product or just giving me a sales pitch, she's genuinely trying to figure out what I need. As a customer, I think that that's something that has it's gotten lost in a lot of ways, and customers are striving for not being sold a product, but sold a solution.
Mhm.
And so, I think the testament to what you've done over your career, and the way that uh, it, looking at your tenure, you're at one place for I'm just going to say it's 10 years. It's basically
It
10 years,
works. Yeah.
so I'm going to say 10. And it shows why people like you are so vital in this industry, because it's the people like Courtney that give their heart and give their soul, their mind, just everything for 10 years to do what you do. And now that that chapter is closed, you started a new chapter at Avaya. So,
Mhm.
maybe kind of talk about what that transition was like. Are you finding anything? I don't really think anything's difficult for you, but are you finding anything maybe a little bit more challenging? Maybe it'd be a different vertical, or if can you kind of speak uh, to that more of the transition if you can, because I think that a lot of people are going through a time. And if you're in the tech industry and telco specifically, you know that there's been quite a lot of layoffs, and so a lot of people
Hmm.
are doing this transition and looking for new places, and not just Courtney. A lot of people have landed in new jobs and are finding, sometimes there's a learning curve. So maybe you can speak a little to, has there been any significant learning curve for you?
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, and the pregnancy brain isn't helping. So
Yes,
if
of
I didn't
course.
have that, I would probably be a little bit further ahead. So the nice thing is that I got to take a little break. I had my little sabbatical. I left Intelisys in April and I started at Avaya on August 1st. And so I really had a summer, and it was so nice to be able to give myself that break mentally and physically and sort of regroup and figure out where I wanted to go next, because I had so much emotional attachment to where I was that if I had gone into making that decision while I was still there, I don't think I would have made the right decision. And so it
Yeah.
really gave me the opportunity to figure out who I am without being the Courtney from ScanSource or Courtney from Intelisys. It was just I am me. And so it let me really pursue some different things and figure out what I wanted to do. And this opportunity at Avaya to become a national partner manager, it really fell into my lap. It was pretty cool, and that's why I felt like it was a sign from the universe that it was the right place to be.
Hmm.
I had a friend, Danny Pickens, reach out, and she was just like, my mentor is looking for someone. They need someone specifically to take the lead on Intelisys, and you're the perfect person for this. And I thought to myself, well, this is really full circle. The first piece of technology I ever used in my career was an Avaya phone.
Yeah.
It was a hand me down. It was like already 10 years old, but dang, if that thing didn't work the entire time I was there. So this phone is 20 years old by the time that I leave, and it still works. And like Avaya stuff doesn't break. But it just really felt right to be there. And then I got to meet the team that I would be a part of. And I just knew that these folks were not just going to be teammates, they were going to be family. And so I accepted the job, started in August. And really, I mean, anyone that's watching this knows what a national partner manager does. I don't have to go into all of that. But the reason that I saw me fitting in at Avaya was this whole hybrid business. So there is still a prim business, and I've always believed that,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, obviously premise is going to exist for a long time. Not everyone wants to go to the cloud. You can, choose your own journey is what Avaya says, innovation without disruption. And so you don't have to rip and replace to keep using these products that Avaya is selling. And it's really helping people on their journey to the cloud in the way they want to get to the cloud. And so I really believe in that. The challenge though is that I think that whenever I was in distribution, obviously your brain is in a million different places. There are 300 suppliers that want a PCU, and you don't have to necessarily be the expert. You have to know where the experts are and bring them
Yeah.
in. And so for me, the difficulty is actually focusing and getting into specific products and being able to, it's not a difficulty, it's just a learning curve because I've never had to be that deep into a specific product. But it's cool because I love that it's going to challenge me to get more educated on really how the technology works and how we compete. And so that was one piece of it. And then really it was just some of the other difficulties are, well, not a difficulty, but a big shift for me is that I don't have any direct reports anymore. And that's a big learning experience for me is, do I want to lead people in my career? I know I can
Yeah.
still be a leader without having direct reports. Those things don't always have to be at the same time. And so allowing myself to sort of dive into some things like ACW a little bit deeper, mentoring, those things I can still do because it honestly gives me a little bit of time back to be able to focus on what I need to do and then how I
Yeah.
can pour into other people. And so that's been one of the challenges for me, is getting back into an individual contributor type role. But I love it. It's a nice change after 4 years of building teams and managing people is not the easiest thing in the world. And so I'm kind of loving it.
Good. Yeah.
It's a good time in life to just be doing my own job, because sometimes the I'm too exhausted, or the migraines hit, whatever pregnancy thing is going
Yeah.
on that day. So it's been a really interesting transition, but honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. Well, and now you've taken the experience that you've built up over, the past decade, and you have learned. See, you say that you can't kind of, learn about all of them, but I think that you're different than most people. So I think that what's probably another superpower of yours is that expertise can now get honed in on, I'm not looking at 200 things, but I'm going to use the same amount of power, if not more, to focus on, I went from 200, now I'm down to 10. And
Hmm.
so I think that if you're able to be successful in the kind of ecosystem that you were in, then people that are able to do that, I think, are going to outperform when they're finally able to kind of hone things in and concentrate a little bit more. So I
Yeah.
I agree. I work that same way. So when I was able to finally get a little bit more freedom, it kind of changes the way you look at certain problems now too, because if you don't have any direct reports, it you're at the top, so there's a little bit more responsibility. So I think when you're in positions like that, it gives you this extra, I don't know, angle to look at things. So you think a little bit more critically,
Hmm.
and you learn a little bit differently as well in those atmospheres. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you took that call to leadership, because it's definitely needed in this industry. I think that they couldn't have put a better human being that I know in that position.
Oh,
So very happy for you.
thank you.
Um, Hope you have continued success. I know that you will. Uh, I've seen what you have been able to do at Intelisys and ScanSource, so I know that that's just going to go. You're taking it to the next level now,
Oh, well,
and
thanks.
now you got that mommy motivation too. So
Right. Yes. Yes.
having children, to myself, I've got a 13-year-old and an 8-year old, both girls. Um, it definitely changed the way I attack situations too. So it's an extra superpower. You're just
Hmm.
you're Wonder Woman, aren't you?
I'm trying. Most days I fail, but yeah, it's always the goal.
Over the course of your work experience in the telco industry, for our viewers, is there maybe one lesson, or some kind of pithy answer that you could impart to them, give them some wisdom? What's maybe one of the biggest lessons that you learned over the course of your career?
Oh man, this one's kind of tough because there's been so many lessons, but this one doubles as just a normal life lesson, and it's that kindness matters. I've shared with you and many people my own mental health struggles with anxiety and depression, and the kindness that is so simple to give to someone else. It's harder to be mean than it is to be kind. That simple kindness that you can share can change the trajectory of not only someone's day, week, month, but their life. And I think that because of the family that we have in the channel, we do care more deeply for each other. We come at things with more kindness because we want to meet each other where we're at. But just remembering that no matter what, no matter how much we think we know other people, know their background,
Yeah.
their story, like there's hurt and there's things that we can help with by just simple kindness. And so I try to lead with that with everything I do, and try to, cheer people up. Simple smiles help so much.
Oh, I think that's very apparent, and yeah, no, I think you really hit it right there. With that point is, you never know what people are struggling through. Like Courtney said, we've had conversations prior, about anxiety, depression. If you did watch the last episode, I touched on it a little bit. It's one of the side effects with having Tourette's. It's a neurological issue that unfortunately comes with just a plethora of other things. So, um, just go about your professional life, understanding that it's a lot easier to be nice, and it's a lot harder to be for lack of a better word, a douchebag. Um, so
It's true.
I think that's a great lesson to impart. Sorry if anybody doesn't like
They'll be
that
okay.
expression, but
They'll
it's
live.
true. And life is just funner when you get along with everyone around you.
It is. It is.
I love that. So I've been trying to end it on bringing it back to the personal side. We talked about the professional. Most people in this industry know you. If not, they just got a really wonderful rundown of what makes you you, why you're so successful in this industry. So let's end it on a high note. What is one, two, maybe three things that you do outside of your work, of taking care of the dog, taking care of your boyfriend? Um, what do you do to kind of shut off from everything? One of your favorite hobbies to do, maybe. Um, one to three. You only got one that you want to talk about, but any chance for people to really know you a little bit more deeply. What are you doing in your off time?
I spend a lot of time decorating. So this office that I'm in has been redecorated probably 12 times in the last 5 years that we have lived here. I absolutely love it. I'm a very artistic person. And so since our business isn't the most creative thing on earth, I have that outlet to help me get that creativity, whether it's, painting walls. I do love, we painted the exterior of our house ourselves a few years ago. My arms looked so good after that. I can't like, I mean, it was amazing. But I absolutely love whether it's refurbishing a piece of furniture. I love anything antique and vintage. I love knowing that a piece that I'm putting in my home has a history and it was in someone else's space. It
Hmm.
has the memories that'll keep going and build more with our home. And so that's something that just sparks so much passion in me. And I love when I can help someone else bring a space together and make their house feel like a home. And so that's why I'm so excited that we're moving into our new house, because now we have a
Bet
new
you are.
place to do that. So that's one of them. But really, that family time is what's so important to me. My mom is one of my best friends on earth. My boyfriend, like my family is everything to me. And I think last night I had 18 missed text messages from my dad, and someone needs to teach that man how to text properly. But we're so close, and so that time together, getting to talk to my nephew on the phone yesterday after work when he was asking if I would name my son Cooper Cooper after him, which I thought was actually a great idea. It's so important to me, and so that's why I was so glad I got that time off this year, because that was as a I guess I was 32 then. How old am I? I just turned 33. There we go. Most 32-year-olds don't get a summer off to spend time with the family, so that
No,
was,
and what a great reset too for you mentally.
yeah.
It's going from working at one place for 10 years I kind of did that myself when I was in energy for 15 years before I really dove into telco. So, I took a couple months off, me and my wife, we took the kids, we went out to Wyoming for a couple of weeks. We went to Disney, just kind of just did all the things that were super fun. It was a great way to get myself mentally prepared for such a drastic change in career.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, it's vital to kind of keep your sanity
Hmm.
and to, um, best way to recharge before you're about to start something new. So
Yeah.
I think that's something that, a lot more people should do. Kind of make sure you're taking time for yourself,
Hmm. Use that
because
PTO. Yeah. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, take the
You,
time. Life goes way too fast. And so yeah, those are a few of the little things about me. I'm not the most interesting person in the world, but yeah, we still have fun.
I love it. We'll close with that. Thank you so much, Courtney, for coming on, being a guest. I was very excited to have you on. I mean, with me, it's just like talking to a friend anyway. So we do that. We do that outside of this. So
Right. Let's do it
it
a few
came
more times
naturally,
this
and I'm
week.
glad that more people know if they didn't know before the Courtney that I've gotten to know over the past couple of years. So thanks for coming on, Courtney.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, and until we talk again,
Yes, thank you. I
thank you.
appreciate you.